That's how dumb we are. We're just fuck Donald Trump, so fuck ourselves too.
Today's episode is sponsored by the Canadian Conservative. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Bangkok, City of Legends. Welcome. We are very pleased to be joined today by Tim. Tim, thanks for having us.
Pleasure to be here. Excited to be here.
Justin,
Hi.
what are we talking about today?
Fatherhood.
Oh, nice. I thought you were
I was
say...
gonna. You already said Tim's name. I was gonna say Stefan. What happened to you?
Oh, you said Austrian. I thought you said Australian.
Right.
Happens all the time.
Dude, it only goes one way though. Everyone thinks Austria is Australia. Nobody.
No,
thinks...
I was in a bar in New Orleans, sitting at the counter ordering diner food, and the woman said to me, "Where y'all from?" And I said,
There was only one of you, and she said y'all.
well, there was a whole group of us.
Oh,
And
okay.
I said, "I'm from Australia." She goes, "We were near you. We was in Germany." And she had no idea. And then I described to her that I was Australian, and she was like, "I knew you had a funny accent."
She did. Bless her. So, welcome, Tim. Today, we're going to be talking about being a parent, specifically a father, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Bangkok.
For now, anyway. I might.
City of Dance.
Yeah.
Yes, I identify as a father.
Yeah. I might.
My
I don't know.
pronouns are dad and pop.
Right.
So, Tim, we tried to do this on Zoom. It was lacking some pizzazz. So I thought I'd, get you in person at the joint and just hear about who you are, what brought you to Bangkok, and, what's your experience living here?
Boring details. I'm an Australian, 53. Been living in Bangkok about 12 years. I came here for a job in the travel industry. So I'm a travel executive. I've been in travel for 25 years, and Bangkok's a top travel city. So that's what brought me here. And I came on my own in 2012, and brought my two children in 2014 when they were 6 and 10.
Right in time for the coup.
Well, I'm talking, they literally landed, and within a month there was a coup in Thailand.
Their fault.
And I had to storm the streets of Bangkok to rescue my son from school when they shut everything down. It was quite a
Oh, wow, yeah,
crazy
must be
time.
dramatic. I mean, for me, as a single guy, the most traumatic thing that happened was 7-Eleven closed.
Yeah.
There was
I think this has come up in every episode so far.
We're still recovering from the trauma.
the coup completely locked down Asok. I don't know if you guys remember the Asok intersection was completely blocked off.
Well, because that's where they were protesting.
And we were living on one side of Asok, and their school was on the other side of Asok. So even just those early mornings, the school starts in Bangkok, as you guys know, very early, 7:30 in the morning. So it was 6:45 in the morning, and I'm trying to figure out ways to get the kids over the Asok sort of blockade and off to school. Yeah, things never had to think about in Sydney.
And they were all cooped up in there.
Oh, hey!
Terrible fun. I was trying to organise a charity concert at the time, and it was really bad for business. It's very hard to get international schools to send people to a concert near a massive protest, especially when a grenade went off 3 days before the concert. And so all the international schools that we've been working really hard to convince and market to, we were even doing like a battle of the bands of the different international schools. So it was going to be a big turnout, and then all the international schools just sent an email around to all parents being like, do not go to this concert. And it killed us, and then we ended up losing money, and the charity accused me of stealing money from them, and it was a whole thing.
I don't know.
That was fun.
Chris the Embezzler.
But so you came out here 2 years before your kids. Was that just because you weren't here full time, or were you scouting out, or they weren't ready to move?
Just the time ago. So I came in August 2012. My son was finishing off primary school. My wife was finishing off her PhD. So they needed a year to wrap things up in Australia, and then joined at the end of 2013 for 2014.
You must have had a fun year in between.
It was sort of fun, but it was also a lot of travel because I had a huge work travel schedule. Plus, I wanted to get down to Australia every 5 or 6 weeks to see them. I did 350,000 kilometers that year. Yeah. So, but work was sending me to America 3 times a year, in Europe 3 times a year. I was going to Australia 6 times a year, and around the region.
You must have serious
Does
air
work,
miles.
That year I was top tier on Star Alliance and One World for the
does
first
work
time.
let you keep your air miles?
Yeah.
Because I've had American companies that are like, oh, we'll have those. And you're like, you didn't have to fly.
Yeah.
Right.
They're mine.
But that was a monster year for miles that year.
Wow.
Well, it's like anything you produce while working for this company is the company's property.
And it had these nice painful moments because I would fly back to Australia as often as I could, and Australia was always 3 or 4 hours ahead, right? So I would land, I'd sleep out the night, and my kids would be so excited to see me. They'd come jumping in to waking me up at 6 o'clock in the morning. which was either 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, depending on what
Yeah.
time of year it was, and they come jumping on the bed. It's a lovely father moment, but you're trying to be like,
One thing I've noticed about being a dad is that kids don't care about how tired you are or how hungover you are.
They might actually prefer waking you up.
Yeah.
I think my wife sends me in if I'm having a nice hungover lie. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure my wife just pushes him in the room and goes, "Alarm clock, go."
Because, yeah, my son sleeps in the other room most nights
Yes.
with my wife and his grandma. And so every morning, 7 a.m., I wake up to pounding on the door and, "Papa?"
oh,
But no matter how tired or shitty I'm feeling, it is a nice way to wake up. It's way better than an alarm. And then, like, he'll come in, and jump on the bed. He's got so much energy. So it's like, all right, I'm up. I can do this.
there is. That's the lovely way for a child to wake you up when they get to like 3 or 4 and they want to come and sleep in the bed. The length of the child is perfect alarm kicking height.
Oh, yeah.
For want of a better phrase, the greatest nut shots I've ever had in my life.
The alarm cock.
Are my 4-year-old
Alarm clock.
are my 4-year-old just 3 o'clock in the morning, bang, street stretching out, and you are awake. That's it.
So he's
Good
just
morning, Dad.
punching in his sleep.
Yeah.
Bless.
That to look forward to.
So here at first, when did you start travelling around on the Klongs? There's a small minority of foreigners that have found the Klongs.
So I moved.
Klongs are the canals for those.
I moved to the Sukhumvit 31 area, so central Bangkok, and deep down the soil, so far down that I'm actually right on the edge of the Sansep Canal. And my office is in the Central World area. So it is this almost perfect straight line down the canal with these very intriguing, to say the word, ferry boats. There's kind of low, flat to the water ferry boats on top of what can only be described as an open
diarrhea.
sewer. Yeah. And the early machinations of these didn't have an on or off area. They would just drop a tarpaulin down and everyone would jump on or off the boat depending on what seat you had. So you had this sort of mass migration of humanity flinging themselves off the boat and on the boat and then pulling tarpaulins back over their heads to avoid any spillover from this clog. But my trip to work cost me 11 baht.
Bargain.
11
Nice.
baht. Not 10, not 12, 11.
Probably saved you at least half an hour.
And was no traffic, because the only traffic allowed on this Klong area are the Klong boats. And it's a great way to do. As I said, sometimes when you work in English, you come home and you spend time with your family in English. Every time I got on the Klong, I was like, yeah, I'm in Bangkok.
Yeah.
I am resetting exactly where I am. I am 100% living
This
in
is very
Southeast Asia.
authentic.
The weirdest thing for me is when you see people fishing in that Klong and you're like,
Yeah, are you just sport fishing? I hope so.
catch and release.
I have seen the weirdest things. I have seen moments where you get that fish jumping out of the water bubbling effect. You ever seen the sort of bubbling effect that happens in a body of water?
Sure.
Where fish somehow, and I don't know what is underneath that has scared them, or where the hell all these fish came from. How are they surviving in their numbers enough to create a bubbling effect?
Well, they're resilient creatures.
I guess it just slowly got dirtier over the decades, and so the fish have just evolved to be unbelievably powerful.
Yeah. I have seen monitor lizards as well, up and down the Klong, which are beautiful animals. They're up 2.5, 3 meter long lizards. And they swim up and down the Klong. Yeah.
For those that don't know, like, you could call someone in Thai a dickhead fuckface and they'd laugh, but if you called them a monitor lizard, you would be committing a hate crime and they would be ready to kill you.
But you can also use it just like you miss a shot or something, or you stub your
Oh yeah,
toe.
if you say it to yourself.
Right.
Not
I actually find, like, I don't know why they're so despised, these animals. Do you know this? Do either of you? Maybe because they used to, like, steal chickens or something, or kill chickens?
That sounds right.
Yeah. Because they look cool to me. I like seeing these
I think
things.
one of the worst curses you can say to someone is hoping they're reincarnated as a monitor lizard.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, look, if we circle back to the children's story, one of the very first visits they had during 2013 before they moved, I said, we're going to Lumpini Park to see dragons.
Dragons.
There is no dragons, Dad. You know there's no dragons, Dad. You idiot. And I took them to Lumpini Park and said, look, over there. There's a goddamn dragon.
I didn't think you could impress Australian children with
With
wildlife.
yeah. Because we don't have a predator wildlife. We have
Wait, don't you have
snakes that'll kill you.
crocodiles?
There's spiders will kill you, but not in Sydney. Like, there's
Oh,
nowhere
yeah.
in Sydney, right? So we don't have
Yeah, that's the wild thing about Bangkok. It's normally like you get every country has some sort of weird animal, but it not like here. It's in the city, in the river next to the 7-Eleven.
Yeah, sometimes in the 7-Eleven.
Yes, it happens.
Doing a little shopping.
Right. So yeah, taking them to see monitor lizards in Lupri Park was a big draw card in the initial sort of. This is why I want you to come to Bangkok.
How did you find parenting, or still do, but they're old enough now, so that doesn't, and they're back in Australia. But having like a 6-year-old in Bangkok doesn't seem ideal. There's not that much. You can't really hang out outside that much. There's the park, I guess.
So this was a big adjustment. Finding sport was incredibly hard. In Australia, sport is just omnipresent. Every school will play levels of sport that every kid will play, and there are 27 different Saturday leagues. Finding sport here was really hard. Getting soccer clubs that actually played soccer rather than just did coaching all the time, I found that to be really strange.
Yeah.
That you sign them up for a soccer club and they'll play one game a month.
There's a lot of individual coaching for sports here.
Yes.
I don't know, it's just because there's like a lot of rich people and not...
Yes.
Do they not understand the value of team sports?
Yeah.
It's the team.
Well, it's like that with ice hockey. Is a lot of the Thai kids are so skilled from an individual point of view. So the skating is phenomenal, shooting is great, but then zero hockey sense because they're just getting all this one-on-one coaching.
This is what I found in there trying to track down sports. Lots of coaching, not a lot of actual gameplay. And in the end, we ended up doing 3 years of parkour, of all things, because I found a parkour gym. They had a regular Saturday morning class, at least got the kids running around in air conditioning, getting exercise, and was a skill base of some description. But that was better than just incessant football coaching with no game. Yeah.
Right. What is all this coaching for if you're not going to play the game? We're talking about practice.
Yeah. But I tell you what, 6 to 10 is a heck of a lot better than the friends of mine I've seen. And Justin, you're going to hit this soon, between like 2 and 6, where you want to live in a pram and you've got a toddler that wants to move around a lot. And controlling a child between 2 and 4 years of age on the streets of Bangkok is really hard. At least a 6-year-old, they know to stay right close to me and not run across stuff or...
But when you live here, right, you get in a taxi and you go to a place, or your car, go to a place. But you see the backpackers here with kids.
Yeah.
And that's the worst age. If they're a baby and you're carrying them, fine. But you can't put them in a pram. It's too hot to hug them.
Yeah.
And you can't let them off the leash.
Yeah.
Like on Khao San Road, like that would be terrifying.
I always just find those people are just selfish. They just want to go on vacation, but they can't abandon their kids, so they just bring them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I brought my soon-to-be 4-year-old here in December, and he's loved it. It was a difficult shift for him, but it's good so far. School's very nice, but I was expecting to meet like a bunch of like-minded parents, and I'm mostly just bumping into nannies, and they're all terrified of me.
Yeah.
Oh, why? Because of your size and general demeanor? You're a friendly guy.
Well, they're looking down. Yeah, they're looking at the kids. They walk into me.
You must be 3 times the average size of a nanny in Thailand.
Yes,
They might just be confused because they're like, "Is this an enormous child? What is this? Just a giant toddler?"
The big trade-off thing was I knew I was giving up the outdoor lifestyle for them, and I knew I had to sort of focus on things like making sure we spent time swimming and practice. But the trade-off was the part of I lived in the eastern suburbs of Sydney, which is sort of a well-to-do part of Sydney, and my kids were going to these very high-end, bland white schools. It's a very, even though Sydney's a multicultural place, the schools they're at was a very multicultural environment.
Perfect.
So bringing them over here into Thailand and plonking them in international schools and giving them a complete rainbow of experiences in terms of the people they went to school with, that was the big trade-off for me, and that's.
As in, that was the positive.
That was a positive. The best thing they got out of being in Bangkok was a completely mixed experience from races, cultures, ethnicities, backgrounds.
There's huge pros and cons. I mean, they'll end up with a network like everywhere, right? Like, any city they go to, they can probably they know of someone, and the schools are big as well. So like you're networking with 10,000 kids.
Well, your network is your net worth, as they say. I hate people that say that. Now I hate myself.
But like there is have you heard the term third culture kids?
Yeah, of course.
Never quite feeling at home anywhere.
Right.
And so, how old were they when they moved here? 12?
So there was 6 and 10. My eldest boy did just under 8, and my oldest kid did about 10.
Oh, and then they went to uni.
And now they're back at university.
Do they still sound Australian?
So he was fascinating. The international schools didn't completely transform the accent into American, but they stole the R's. So the Australian says R, probably very nasal, and the North Americans say R, and all of my kids started talking with R's. So there were more of us than there were before. So there are more of us than there were before.
Yeah.
But then, within one night, my oldest boy goes home to Australia. It's the first Friday night. And I pick up the phone and I call him and I go, "Hey, Raph, how you doing?" He goes, "Oh, mate, I'm doing great."
So just fully awed out.
What are you doing? He said, "Oh, I'm having a beer."
Fucking back in Australia, mate. What are you talking about?
What are your mate's name? "Oh, I'm having a drink with Hayden and Aiden." So within seconds,
Kids are adaptable.
So within seconds, he had reacclimatized himself, and it was using language as a way of, proving to others that he was, Australian.
Yeah.
Rather than sort of
I noticed that, like, when I go back to Canada, I become more Canadian again.
Yes.
Because I hear my cousin going like, "Hey, you want to take the boat out for a ride?" I'm like, my God, that's what we sound like. All right.
So did you nanny?
No, they were old enough not to need them. We had maids for cleaning, but they didn't need nannying. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your wife is Australian too?
Yes. Yeah. She runs an international school here.
Oh, nice. Okay, well, that's a good connection.
So, but your kids are white.
Yes. Yeah. My wife is an Italian migrant, and obviously I'm a
Migrant.
she came to Australia when she was 12.
Okay.
So she migrated to Australia when she was 12 years of age. So my kids are the child of a migrant in Australia.
Why migrant and not immigrant?
I don't know why we say migrant in Australia.
Was she like picking fruit or something?
I don't know. It's interesting, but we don't have the phrase migrant worker in Australian English the way.
So it doesn't have the American association.
Right.
And
Yeah, because there's like rankings. There's expat, immigrant, migrant.
So the word expat does not exist in Australian English, right?
Right.
It's only used when you're outside of Australia.
Yeah.
So I used to just think expat
a
was
family
just
that is
white.
coming to Australia is called a migrant family as a generic term. It's not.
Oh, okay. So it's not like.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Loaded
Because
or racist.
to me, I have the American connotation.
Yeah.
Because we don't really have migrants in Canada. Not many, anyway. We have refugees or immigrants.
Yeah.
Because we've got the two oceans in the USA as buffer zones. You can't just walk to Canada.
Yeah.
It'd be very arduous.
You're going to get it soon.
You can. Well, they're coming, yeah.
But that's the different language. We would never use immigrant, but we would say this person. We would talk about immigration, and the people coming in are migrants.
I see.
It's just language. Just language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So
I
my wife
used
is an Italian migrant, and then I've been in Australia. My Australia 3 generations of all English, Irish, Welsh stock. Yeah.
So I heard that expat was just a racist term to make white migrants sound better.
Yes.
But actually, technically, it does mean when your company sends you somewhere intentionally, right? Which is
Well,
what you
no,
are.
technically, I didn't. I came here to work for a company that's based here, so I.
So you're a migrant.
So you migrated.
Migrated, right? And the visa that we use called an immigrant non-B visa or something, right?
Classico, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, the reason we have to be expats is because we can't actually be immigrants. Like, we can.
That's it. Right.
Well, I mean, it's possible, but it's very difficult to become a Thai citizen.
Yeah, almost impossible.
Yeah.
The hoops you have to jump through. You have to renounce your home citizenship.
Right, and I'm not going to be doing that.
And also, it's kind of pointless because if you just say one thing mean to the wrong rich person, then you lose it anyway. So it
Right.
seems like not worth it.
So the difference that Chris and I have is both our sons are half Thai.
Right.
And the question I have for you, Chris, is: so does your wife's family? Are there any other children that are fully Thai?
Yeah.
Yeah. And is your son? Because I'm gonna have to have a conversation with my Thai family at some point. Because first of all, he's the baby of the family.
Sure.
So you get a whole bunch of attention for that.
Yeah.
But also, he's the only one who's half white. So they treat him like he's very special. And I'm okay with it now because he's a baby. But at a certain point, I'm going to have to be like, hey, he's the same as all the other kids. But keep treating me like I'm special, but he's like all the other ones.
Yeah, I have it worse because we were living in England until December. So we've only just moved here, so they missed him as well. So he's extra special.
Yeah.
And then his cousin's a couple of years older and was the prince of the family and has been dethroned and is visibly annoyed about it.
So he didn't abdicate on his own.
It's very Game of Thrones.
Well,
So yeah, but I feel that because I mean, look, it's just lovely how much support you get from the extended family. I live literally next door to my wife's family, and in any other country that would be a nightmare. In Thailand, it's wonderful. They just cook for me constantly. And
yeah.
I have to ask for my son back. Can I?
Yeah,
get my son
we're
back?
we're
It's
both
amazing.
here right now.
Yes.
Both have young children.
Didn't need a whole
We're here doing a podcast because
How are you managing language? Is the sort of wife speaking only Thai? You
well,
speak English?
I speak to him in French,
Right.
and then my wife speaks to him in Thai, and so do his grandparents, as that's the only language they can speak. And then my wife and I speak to each other in English because eventually we're planning on moving to Canada. But
My son is very, very English. We taught him English, and then we tried a bit both, but then his speech was like falling a bit behind. We were concerned, so all right, let's focus on English while we're here, and then when we move to Thailand, he'll start learning Thai. And he's not having any of it. He's just like, no, mummy, stop making that noise. Speak properly. I'm like, oh my God, I've raised a little shit. He is classic British man in a pub.
right, it's like you're in Thai. You're already doing that thing. But I mean, so you said he was struggling a little bit with the main language. I think it probably does take a little longer, but over time, knowing multiple languages is obviously a massive advantage.
Oh, God, I want him fluent in Thai, but it's such a tough language, and like I've been learning Thai for 25 years, and I still haven't got the hang of it. So
Yeah, I used to think like, well, for immigrants in Canada, I'd be like, you've been here for so long, how come you don't? And then I've been here for 12 years, and my Thai has not improved since my second year.
we can count on one hand the white guys we know who speak good Thai.
Yeah, and they're all weird. Something happens to your brain when you learn that language. But it's so easy to just get the survival level and then coast on it. Although the nice thing for me is I'm getting a little bit better because you plateau at a certain point unless you actually take lessons or learn how to read or whatever. But since I have an infant son, they speak to him in an age-appropriate manner.
you're
It's
learning
at
with
my
him.
level, so I'm kind of learning along with him.
And so how excited were your sons to go back to Australia? Was there any debate about where they'd go to university? Was there a thinking about doing it in Thailand or not?
There was
really.
no debate about going to university here in Thailand. Thailand has, I think, a fantastic international school structure, but there's still a lot of work to be done to make this international university destination.
Why doesn't someone set up an international university? I think there are some chains that have a branch here, but it's mostly with the aim of bringing Thai people to England or America, right?
There was some debate about going to the Netherlands. So since the UK left the European Union, the Netherlands has become the great sort of international place to go. And because both of the boys are Italian citizens, it's quite cheap for them to go to university in the Netherlands. So there was a bit of a debate about that. But in the end, they decided no, they wanted to go to Australia.
So they were both born in Australia, but because their mom's Italian, they have dual citizenship.
Yeah, the Italians are very generous with citizenship. I'm also an Italian citizen now.
Sick.
Yeah, they sort of just
Mamma mia.
Nice. You just slept your way into
Slept my way.
it.
and we had to be married for 3 years, and then it took me 3 years to apply for it, and then I became an Italian citizen. So I've been an Italian citizen for 20 years or something like that. And I went to the Italian consulate in Sydney to pledge my allegiance to the flag and shake hands with the consul general and become an Italian citizen. And there's a photograph of us, and behind us is the Italian flag, which is all I could see when I was printed for the photograph. Then I looked at the photograph, and we're shaking hands, and underneath the Italian flag is the Pirelli calendar. Now, if Google kids out there, Pirelli calendar. Pirelli is a car manufacturer, and every year they put out a black and white topless women's calendar.
And you have to pledge allegiance to it to get citizenship.
And I don't remember
Promise to exclusively sleep with Italian women for the rest of your day.
There's this great photograph of me unknowingly shaking hands underneath the black and white set of boobies.
That's the most Italian thing I've
I've ever heard, right?
That's fantastic.
But it's amore.
It's amore, right? That's amore. So yeah, so there was some discussion about going to Europe instead, but they both unambiguously chose Australia. Yes.
My Thai wife studied in Italy, and it took her ages to get her student visa. And eventually, she just, on advice, went down to the thing with a large cake, and that bribe was enough for her finally to get the paperwork done.
Well, Italian citizenship and Italian registration is all done at the comune level. The comune is the local council. So my wife has called the comune a couple of times, and she is known as the woman from Thailand. Of course, and that's the kind of level, of connection you have for these very locally driven countries. Yeah.
So, do you think your kids will ever want to move back to Thailand? Have you spoken to them?
I don't think my eldest boy, we joke, we broke him in travel. Like because we brought him to Thailand and we dragged him around the world and dragged him around Southeast Asia. I even put the kid in a summer camp program teaching children English in Myanmar when he was 15. There was a group who used to run summer camps, sort of work, community resource connection camps. So he spent like 3 weeks in an orphanage in Myanmar teaching kids English, which you can learn. Great for him, but he's like, can I just go back to Sydney? Can I just go back to Sydney?
Yeah, those are
And
the
just sit
options.
on the beach?
Fair enough.
Can I just get a job and be? So I think he's going to be the most normal, just never change his life, live in the same house.
That's how he rebels against
That's how he
you.
rebels because his parents do drag him all around the world.
Well, because they've gone back to Australia for university, so they never really got to experience Bangkok as a guy in your early
No,
20s.
they did not. Yeah.
Because that's what really...
Do they not come back for holidays?
They do. The secret, the secret to all expat families who have their kids go away for university, the secret 2 years before they go away to university, get a dog. Have them fall in love with a dog, and it guarantees at least one trip home every year.
Pro
That's
tips
the
there.
That's big. So they do both come home every year at least once.
To see the dog rather than their father.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. But then I go to Australia twice a year or so often, so yeah, the dogs are a big draw card. Yeah.
So yeah, we've got much younger kids ahead of us. What do you think is the toughest years?
So, look, I think there are lots of fantastic things about having kids in Bangkok, but the challenging years are 15 to 18. And the reason why Bangkok is a tough city for 15 to 18-year-old is it's not an outdoor city. Talked about that at the beginning. There's no parks, there's no beaches, there's no places to hang out broadly. And if you're 15 or 18, you're not old enough to legally go out and do restaurants and cafes and bars at night. So what do you do? And the answer is someone else's house or the mall. That is literally the only two answers.
Or bars shady enough that they don't care that you're underage.
Right.
Yeah.
So you've got to directionally, as the parent, keep them entertained enough in this very limited environment that they don't get sucked into the vortex of the dangers of Bangkok. And there were some kids in their networks who got sucked into the vortex of the dangers of Bangkok because they're just sitting there bored out of their minds on a weekend. Thinking, well, should we go to Quartier, Emporium, or M-Sphere? Which one should we do today? You know, kind of which movie of the Marvel Universe have we not seen 7 times? You know, or coming over to someone's house to playing PlayStation until the thumbs bleed. You know?
That sounds pretty cool, though. I could go for some of that.
Don't have Justin want more than hanging out.
So that's the tough year. And the secrets there are getting to everything you can do indoors in Bangkok. So you have to be very.
You talk about cinema and PlayStation. You know you can combine those two, and in Bangkok it's possible to rent out a cinema for a couple of hours, plug in your PlayStation, and play on the cinema screen. Epic!
Is the Australian
We should organize that and play Mario Kart or something.
Right. The Australian approach to the weekend is no planning. Right? So you get up in the morning on Saturday, you just go. In Bangkok, the plan for 15 to 18-year-olds, you've got to work with them on Wednesday as to what they're going to be doing on the weekend. Who have you lined up?
So you're that involved even... Because, like, when I was 15...
Justin's already checked out with his kids.
Well, no, but I'm just saying when I was 15, I didn't really consult my dad about what I was going to be doing on the
It
weekend.
wasn't him consulting me, it was me like, hey, what are you guys doing on the weekend? What have you got planned? Because I know that if you wake up on Saturday morning without a plan as a 15-year-old in Bangkok, you're just going to be in the house going, and start to just...
Yeah, you need somewhere to put that energy.
Yeah, and if they haven't planned it by Wednesday or Thursday, then you leave it to them, they're not going to plan it. So I'm not saying they have to check in with you, but
So you're
nudging them a little bit on a Wednesday to
Sure.
get stuff organised.
It seems necessary. I was going to Khao San. Because I'm the oldest, I was going at 17 and had a strict curfew. But by the time my youngest sister was like 14, she was going out drinking with her friends. So, and you hear the horror stories, obviously, like some kids go off the rails. The worst story I've ever heard, some parents left Bangkok and didn't bring their teenage kids with them. They just kind of like abandoned their kid.
So, like, the literal Bangkok has them now.
Yeah, and I think like he was involved with drugs or something. So that was the excuse they made to be like, he's a bad un. But like, they left the 16-year-old alone in Bangkok.
Right.
This was it's actually a very common experience where, because there are lots of workers here with government bodies or government who get into rotations, right? So every year there would be some note going around the international schools saying, Harry or Jennifer's parents are now being rotated back to America, Canada, Germany, whatever, and they've got 1 year left to go of high school. Could somebody please, have a spare bedroom for this thing? So the 18-year-old being left behind for their final year of high school is an incredibly common thing. It's a trope.
With
The parents have to go with
billet
them.
family.
The parents were working for whatever and got reposted back to wherever. and they want to take the kid out of the last year of high school. You can kind of see
that makes
the rationale.
makes sense.
But
yeah.
it does mean this 18-year-old is moving in with someone else's family, or is, God forbid, living on their own. This is a thing.
But at a certain point, though, don't you have to you have to raise them as well as you can,
Yes.
and then this is an extreme version of it.
They belong to the
abandoning your
streets
kids.
now.
But
They have
at
to
a
play
certain
the nest
point,
at some point.
exactly, and you have to just trust them to become adults with the values you've instilled in them.
And some of the things I said to them when they were 16, 17, and 18, and they were going out, I was like, no judgment, no fear. I will not be in trouble. Call me.
Yeah, that's
No,
really
And then you will be in trouble.
No. I will be there. I will pick you up. I will bring you home, and I won't need to talk about it.
Yeah, my parents were really good at that with my younger sisters when, they, especially the youngest one, she was in Ireland. So heavy drinking culture. I remember going out with her once when I was 19 and she was 6 years younger, so 14. And she downed a bottle of wine as pre-drinks before we went out. And I was like, oh my God, I cannot keep up with my 14-year-old sister.
Yeah.
And my parents were like, very cool. And like, because of that, our house was the party house. Because they would rather it be around there than anywhere else. And yeah, I mean, what do you do? But I've seen the alternative where like really strict parents make for really wild kids.
For sure.
And they're not there to police them.
Yeah.
I did not want them, getting bottles of Absolute from 7-Eleven and, cruising around, sitting on clongs. I wanted.
Yeah, that's what Dad does. That's my thing. Get your own
My
thing.
spot.
Absolute was my party. It's soju and all that.
Classic.
Yeah. So that's tough. That's the danger. That's what I would caution all parents. The toughest years is 15 to 18 when there's nothing to do, and the temptations of Bangkok are very strong.
Yeah, probably true most places, but then obviously
there's
the added danger of Bangkok. But you're totally right, though, is when parents are super strict and they don't trust their kids, they so easily go off the rails and rebel. Because if your parents trust you and kind of let you do your thing within reason, it's not fun. you go like, all right. And also you get trained with drinking a little bit too. Like the first time I got absolutely hammered was when I was 14 on Christmas Eve. And we were drinking rum and eggnog, and to this day I cannot drink eggnog because of this. But anyway, because I had that experience at home, I never got like blackout drunk vomit. I've never had to be carried out of anywhere or any of this kind of stuff. And I've seen it usually happens to like the kids with strict parents, which makes it funnier.
Yeah, it's like a dog that's been on a leash for too long and then just goes a little bit wild.
Right.
And I've got my own son. I told my wife we're moving to Thailand for good, but I'm thoroughly aware that if at 15 he's starting to take a wrong path and then the interventions aren't working, then I think an option for him is for us to move back to the UK, finish off his school there, and then we'll prepare him for going to school in
I've got almost the opposite plan, because I'm planning to move to Canada with my family, then raise him there, and then he might struggle a bit there because he's half Asian, and Asian guys don't have it easy in the West. He's going to be huge, so that'll be an advantage. But then he'll come back here and just rule Thailand. That's my goal.
Just raise
He's going to be the captain of the Thai national team, hockey team.
Nice.
That's my plan for my son.
It's a noble goal. I like it. Any final thoughts? Like, would you recommend raising kids in Thailand?
I had a lot of fun raising kids in Thailand, and they got a lot out of it. The worldview they have is very different to children raised in Australia. But you are asking a lot of them, right? You're asking a lot of them to have an indoor life, not an outdoor life. Yeah. And you're asking a lot of them when they go back to their home country, they are not the same as a kid who spent 18 years.
No, they're better.
They're
well, they just have a more expansive.
I'll give you one example. Like, I sent my youngest son home, and he called me and he said, "The buses aren't stopping for me." I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "I stand at the bus stop and they don't stop for me." I said, "Do you put your hand out and hail them?" He goes, "You didn't tell me I had to do that." Right? Yeah. So having your 18-year-old Australian son having to be taught at 18
How Australia works.
How Australia works.
Well,
You are asking a lot of them. And
I was flying alone from the age of 11.
Yeah.
And I find airports very easy to navigate. Buses and trains are absolutely terrifying.
Airports are idiot proof.
There's boards everywhere and it just tells you a number. And if you can count to 12, you will find where you're meant to go.
Let's say my kids were flying solo from 15 and 16, under 16 accompanied, and from 16 onwards on their own. But yes, just having to relearn Sydney as an 18-year-old is, you're asking a lot. But the worldview that they have as a result of that, and their ability to navigate the chaos of Bangkok, puts them in a lot of good stead in being able to navigate.
Right. If they can navigate Bangkok, Sydney should be easy, right?
Easy peasy.
Yeah, and I did find after living in Brazil, I found like Thailand very easy.
Yeah. Well, I went to Kolkata, India to do comedy of all things. And then I came back here to Bangkok and I was like, wow, Bangkok is clean and organized. It's all relative.
I'll tell you one thing that surprised me too. I was nervous about what it would be like sending them to live on their own in Australia. So they're both on a stint in a non-catered college. So it's a college but they're cooking. And now my son is in a share house, my oldest son. And I thought, what's it going to be like going from having had a maid in the house to living on your own? They are the cleanest people in their group because they know what a clean house looks like.
Oh, because they've been trained by them.
That's what they expect.
Even
right?
though they didn't do the work, they know what a clean house looks
Right.
like.
So they're used to a certain standard.
So they actually are the clean ones in their group, and they're constantly pointing at their flatmates and housemates to do their fucking
So there you go. Get a maid, everyone.
That's the secret.
It doesn't work for everyone. I grew up with a maid, and I do not pick up anything. I could not care less. And I do worry about raising kids with maids and nannies. I think, I get it. I don't judge anyone, and it makes a lot of sense. It's affordable, so fine. But I do worry, like you talk about the extended family treating your son like
a
prince, but
maid,
nanny,
because they're an
not gonna say
employee,
no, right?
so they're scared of because the kid is almost their boss. But I find that it's the parents' responsibility to go and make sure that the nanny is able to discipline them appropriately and not take any shit from them, because otherwise they're going to grow up to be little assholes.
Yeah, and that I think is really important because I see it. Kids immediately get how they should talk to people. And my wife has a disabled aunt who helps around the house, and we look after her, and that's sort of like kind of a maid, but just like part-time, does a bit bits and bobs, But Loki immediately just started like shouting at her and bossing her around, and we're like, "Oh no, sir, you are not." And he just did not respect her, and immediately just gathered he could do that, and she would let him get away with it. And you're like, no, stop it.
So you nipped that in the bud. I mean, kids test out being psychopaths. I think that's their natural state. I know you were trying to wrap things up, but like my kid's only 13 months, so it's difficult to discipline a baby. You can't really. You can just know or whatever, but there's not much else you can do. But he bites and slaps and pulls hair, like he's extremely violent. And I'm like, all right, well, hopefully he grows out of this one.
They often do, but it's a good skill set to have for the hockey team, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he'll be a goon. So his future is bright.
Okay, been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us. Cheers, man. Let's do it again sometime.
How safe for work was that?
We nailed it.
I paused and said sneers really awkward.
Yeah, that's not going to make the end. My legs come dead. I'm going to knock everything over.
You know what's nice about...
Right, yeah.